I'm signing an executive order to open up the pumps and valves in the north. We want to get that water pouring down here as quickly as possible and let hundreds of millions of gallons of water flow down into Southern California. And that'll be a big benefit to you. If you don't want it, you're going to tell me, but I can't imagine it. I tell you who does like it is the fire department. When I said that, they were very happy with that. They didn't mind hearing that. But we have a lot of water that is available, and I hope you can work that out among yourselves. But I think this will show that we have to have that water. We have to have that water. You're talking about unlimited water coming up from the Pacific Northwest, even coming up from parts of Canada. And it pours down naturally. It has for a million years. For a million years, it pours down. You'll never run out. You'll never have shortages, and you won't have things like this. And when you do, you'll have a lot of water to put it out. So I'm going to ask that you figure that out. But I really strongly recommended this 7 years ago, and I think I'm going to just do it. If you have big problems, you're going to let me know, but I just can't even imagine it. But we're also surging federal resources and assistance to the state, and California must adopt the common sense policies to prevent fires, and we all know that. You know, we were talking 7 or 8 years ago, I was talking to people from Austria, people from Finland, people that live in forests. One of the gentlemen, one of the top great leaders of Austria said, we don't have forest fires, and we have trees that are actually far more flammable than they have in California, but they literally rake their forests. They take down, if a tree comes down, they take it down. They say you have 18 months. After that, it's like a matchstick. And I know environmentally, some environmental groups like the trees to just melt into the ground, but when they do melt into the ground, they become an inferno. So I think you're going to have to change your ways in terms of that. You have 30 years of leaves, and those leaves are dry as a bone, and they burn. You know, interestingly, because I was at Paradise, who is the general, right? A long time ago, I was at Paradise. What a beautiful paradise it was. And what we saw at Pleasure, what a name right now. But what we just saw, we just left Pleasure. Paradise. But the trees that were on the ground, within 12 to 18 months. They say 18 months at a maximum, you have to cut them up, take them away because they're matchsticks. But we saw that. You saw that with me. I commented at the time. I said, look at this. The house is burned down and the tree is standing, and it's, other than being a little different color on the bottom, and it went through an inferno. It's amazing. It's soaking wet. So I think they have to do it. It's called management of the floor. And when the gentleman from Austria and also Finland and other countries, they said we manage the forest floor very, very carefully, and we don't have forest fires. You know, they just don't have them. I made the deal with the Olympics. I was called by your former mayor, and he said, would you call the Olympics? Because I must tell you, the Democrats, as you know, were not calling. They wouldn't do it. I don't know, there was a bad experience somehow. But I'll never forget when I got the Olympics, and then I was president when I got them. I said, oh boy, it's too bad I won't be president. Who knew this was going to happen, right? I said, I won't be president because it would have been the 4 years. And in fact, I'd be retired by 4 days right now, I guess, right? But I've only been here 3 days, and I'll do a great job. But we had another president, and this took place during the life of another president, not me. But I'm going to be the president that's going to help you fix it, because he would not have been able to help you fix it, okay? You know, even beyond the fire stuff, the farms. I was driving up with congressmen a few years ago because they were complaining they had no water. And I was driving up, and you'll see all of this incredible land, but it's absolutely bone dry. And then you'll see little green patches, and the green patches are so beautiful. You know, they have that land, they say it's as good as Iowa farmland, but it has no water. And it's artificial, has no water. They send the water out into the Pacific Ocean. And when we let that water come through your valleys and down to Los Angeles and everything, you're going to have a different place. It's going to be a whole different place. And you guys have to get together and say, gee, we want it. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. So at least you said that, and I appreciate it. Because your farmers will be able to, instead of having 1 acre out of 100, which is all they have, they'll be able to have 100 acres out of 100. And it's among the best, they say it's the best farmland just about in the country, as good as any place there is. So, but you can't, it's no good without water. So that's beyond the fire stuff. But today we're talking about fire, but it's good for everything. So I hope you can lead a group. And Darrell, if you can lead a group, I know how you feel. And, you know, support what I'm doing, because what I'm doing, I guess, is controversial. I don't know what's controversial about sending millions and millions of gallons of beautiful fresh water from the Pacific Northwest and further up than even that into an area that's bone dry. We have to, you know, I have a house in Beverly Hills, and you get notices every once in a while. They want you to go down to 38 gallons per person or something, per house, per person. I say, you mean you can only have, 38 gallons sounds like a lot. It's not a lot. And they want to do that every once in a while, and you just think it's ridiculous. When you have like just about as much water as anybody in the country, and we shouldn't be in a position where you have tumbleweed that's dry as a bone, that even tumbleweed can be nice and green and rich and loaded up with water, and it's not going to burn. You don't even have to remove it. It's not going to burn, but it's just dry. So I hope you can all get together and say, I'm so happy with the water that's going to be flowing down, because I just don't see anything. They talk about the Delta smelt, which is a fish that's this big, but it is really not, doesn't have to be protected because it's in other areas. It's in numerous other areas. So it doesn't have to be protected. The people of California have to be protected. Yeah. You have so much water. Use it and be happy about it.
Mr. President.
Be happy. And one of the things that was missing, many of you have sprinklers over your living room and your bathroom and your kitchen. I mean, if those sprinklers worked with some pressure, you would have had a much different outcome. So we're going to work on that.
And the number one thing that we are going to do immediately, and you will see this happen, is to clear out the debris. And you know, we're concerned right now over the weekend because of the potential rain, but we are going to move as fast as we can, but we want you to be safe, and we want you to be back in your homes immediately.
But the people are willing to clean out their own debris. It doesn't cost a lot.
Yes, and they can.
You should let them do it, because by the time you hire contractors, it's going to be 2 years.
If a family...
The people are willing to get a dumpster and do it themselves and clean it out.
And they can.
There's not that much left. It's all incinerated.
That's right.
And, you know, it's just going to take a long time if you do. You can do some of it, but a lot of these people, I know that guy right there that's talking. I know my people. You'll be on that thing tonight, throwing the stuff away, and your site it'll look perfect within 24 hours, and that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to wait around for 7 months till the city hires some demolition contract that's going to charge him $25,000 to do his lot. Yeah. I think you have emergency powers just like I do, and I'm exercising my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
I did exercise them.
Because I looked, I mean, you have a very powerful emergency power, and you can do everything within 24 hours.
Yes. And if individuals want to clear out their property, they can. You will be able to go back soon.
Mr. President.
We think within a week.
That's a long time, a week. I'll be honest. To me, everyone's standing in front of their house. They want to go to work, and they're not allowed to do it.
And the most important thing is for people to be safe.
They're safe. They're safe. You know what? They're not safe. They're not safe now. They're going to be much safer. A week is actually a long time, the way I look at it. I watched hundreds of people standing in front of their lots, and they're not allowed to go in. It's all burned. It's gone. It's done. Nothing's going to happen to it. It's not going to burn anymore. There's nothing to burn. There's almost nothing to burn. And they want to go in. The people are all over the place. They're standing, and I say, why aren't you going in? We're trying to get a permit. And the permit's going to take them, everybody said 18 months. You said 18 months. You said 18 months.
There will be more fires until we include in any disaster relief items which will prevent it or at least mitigate it from happening again. So you're going to see us proposing both of those.
Like water. Little
we're
things
gonna
like
do
water.
that for
You
them.
know, the party of common sense. See, we're the party of common sense. You're not, in all fairness.
Yes, sir.
We like water to put out fires. It's really quite efficient.
We need to reform our legal system to prevent these lawsuits from tying up these projects for years and years and years. And not to say that the merit shouldn't be heard, but we need to hear them and we need to move on, resolve them.
Is this a state group? State or federal group?
This is a local group, actually, Mr. President, but they have help from the state.
They
and
use the
federal.
environment to make themselves feel good, and they're destroying our country. And you've got to, at some point, you've got to put your foot down. I know exactly what you're talking. You have local and state groups, and you have federal groups too. And we did a good job with you
And
people.
FEMA was extremely helpful.
Yep.
30,000.
That was the old days when FEMA was good. FEMA's no good anymore.
Yeah.
That was when we ran it. FEMA was very good, but now FEMA's not good. I do have to say FEMA's a big disappointment. We had it working well. We had great people, but FEMA's not good anymore. What FEMA did in North Carolina, you know, they still haven't even gone to certain areas. They don't know what they're doing. And I say, you don't need FEMA. You need a good state government. And when you have a problem in Los Angeles, or when you have a problem even in the state of California, you have your own, essentially FEMA. You fix it yourself. You don't have somebody coming in from a state where they have no idea, like Florida. They come in from hurricanes. They have people staying in Alaska. And now they see, oh, this is very nice. But by the time they get familiar with it, they don't know anything. The FEMA is a very expensive, in my opinion, mostly failed situation. We had great people. We did some great jobs. But each state should take care of their problem and get money from the federal government. It would be so much better, so much more efficient. So we're looking at that because we have had, and you're going to have problems with FEMA too. You've already had problems with FEMA. FEMA doesn't even show up. It takes weeks before they even show up. And what happens is the state then relies on FEMA and nobody does anything because FEMA doesn't show up. So it's not a good situation. So we'll make some recommendations on that.
When you have a disaster this size, you need to be able to deploy thousands of people, which they've been able to do. Now, California, if we did it on our own, maybe we'd have thousands of people.
You do.
But if Rhode Island has
You
a
do.
Palisades disaster, are they then supposed to keep
How many
thousands-
people do you have in California? 36? How many? How many
close-
million?
close
How
to
many?
40
How many million people do you have?
But
You have 40 million people. You're not going to get a few thousand people. The problem with FEMA is they come from all over the country. They end up in arguments with your people from California because they want to do it a totally different way. And
They're getting
I can
along
live
fine.
either way, but you haven't gotten very much done with FEMA and all you have to do is look at North Carolina. It's one of the great disasters of all time.
And Mr. President, you can't have Rhode Island maintain a staff of thousands and thousands of people waiting to see if they have a disaster.
Do you know who came in and fixed North Carolina or the process? Other states, people from all over the country came. And you have the same thing. You have a lot of people from all over the country. Getting the people is not a problem. Getting the organization's a big problem. FEMA's incompetently run, and it costs about 3 times more than it should cost. You'll take their guts away. You'll take their spirit away if you don't give them the permits. You're going to take their guts. They're going to say, all of a sudden they'll start looking for houses, and your whole thing is going to blow up on you.
Mr. President, I just wanted to say Paradise is coming back because of the help that you gave us, and we really want to thank you for that. And that's why we're here also, is because we want to help our
We did a
brothers
good
and
job with
sisters.
Paradise, didn't we? What a fire that was.
It was a terrible
We've
fire.
had many people were found, and only the certain type of German Shepherd could even find it, right? You could not tell. The dog would go right up. There's the body. And the incineration was so horrible. You got a lot of dry stuff. It's bone dry.
And the environmental
And you know, I predicted this 7 years ago. I said, do it, get it done. And everybody laughed. They thought it was, I said, forest management. They thought it was such a funny term. Ha ha ha, that's so funny. Now it's not funny anymore, you know? We were right.
It's #1 cause of these fires. #1 cause.
You wouldn't have any fires.
Right. And if we just remove those environmental regulations, NEPA, CEQA at the state level, that get in the way of us doing those projects.
It's all a con job, you know that, right? I'm going to give you everything you want. I'm going to give you more than any president would have ever given you. If most presidents wouldn't be here, number one. They certainly wouldn't be here after 3 days.